Welcome to Hug Nation Live. I am John Halcyon, and I am dedicated to this daily practice of gratitude. And I am glad that I get to share it with you. So, looking forward to hearing what you're grateful for. Looking forward to having a moment of connection. Feeling a little fatigued this morning, feeling a little achy and tired, but plenty to find gratitude about. I'm grateful that within this achy body there is so much functionality, so much capability. Grateful for the cooler weather. Grateful for you, Gerbot. Good morning. Good to see you. This is, as I was getting ready for broadcasting today, and I feel like I have so much on my mind about the world, about America. And very little of it is anchored in gratitude. So this is one of those times when it's good to remember that gratitude is a yes and practice. Yes, there's a lot to be concerned about. Yes, there's a lot that needs healing. Yes, there's suffering. And there's a delicious warm beverage. And there's good friendship, and there is family connections, and there is a romantic partner. So I'm so grateful for Lisa right now. I've been feeling just so appreciative of her. We had her chorus practice on Tuesday night, so I got to witness her in her glory. She's just so... I'm just continually impressed by the way she shows up, the energy she puts into the world, the ripples of inspiration that she just generates constantly. Good morning, Juan. Good morning, Gerbot says, grateful to have had a successful day helping resolve multiple friends' tech issues. You are a healer, the tech healer. I invite you to stretch and find the things you're grateful for. And just because I can't help but not speak to it, I do want to speak to the world a little bit. Juan says, I'm grateful for having a healthy 15-year-old son. Life is good. So, if you didn't know, Hug Nation began as it was inspired in the political landscape after 9/11. Today is 9/11. And so, right after the attack, as people were reeling from the shock of it all, there was this real sense of camaraderie. I felt this real sense of, this is not the world we want, like whatever led to this, like the violence, the imperialism, this is like, this is unacceptable. And I really felt like there was like a global feeling of that, of like, we know what's wrong. Let's head towards what's right. And I felt hopeful. And then we started to be fed a narrative about those responsible and the us-them narrative of, And we that led us into a conflicts that resulted in much more destruction and death. But as the world was starting to talk in terms of us, them, us, them, us, them, it was early days of the internet. It was like, I think, was it 2001? Is that when that was? And those of us that were super like intoxicated by this World Wide Web that connected the world, were like, this old model of us and them doesn't really work anymore. Like, we can talk to people around the world. We can see their faces. At the time, I was living in a webcam house, so I was super involved in the magic of this kind of thing right now. Like, wherever you are physically right now, we are sharing this moment. The world becomes flat. And so it's like, well, how can we use the web to try to have some sort of counter message than the us, them, othering that we were being kind of pulled into? And so we said, what if we invited people to get in front of their webcams all over the world at the same time once a week and had a group hug just to acknowledge that we're more alike than we are different, and say, look, it's easy to start talking about them, but if you ever travel the world, you'll notice that whatever a country's reputation is, that if the individuals there, they will invite you into their homes and serve you tea. The world would rather hug you than hurt you. And so we started doing Hug Nation. And while it started when I lived in the Real House, using Citizen X, the original webcam community platform that I built with Dimitri and another guy named Jason and Adam. And so that continues to this day. This practice here, this daily, we end in a hug. It was rooted in a response to 9/11. And so on this year's 9/11 in 2025, I have all of that in my mind, all of this 24 years of trying to connect through the web, trying to use this tool that has been so twisted into a tool of algorithmic-based manipulation, but still trying to use it for connection. And kind of reeling from the news yesterday of the murder of Charlie Kirk, and feeling that message seems really important still. The world would rather hug you than hurt you. And as someone who believes that and wants to believe that and chooses to believe that, it's important, I think, to work towards feeling that, even when, especially when, the temptation of violence or aggression or othering is tugging on you. I was no fan of Charlie Kirk. I thought that his tone and techniques and stances were problematic and disruptive to a path of harmony. But it is a really, I will say unequivocally, it is so wrong. It is so terrible. I am so bothered by his death. we've had too many examples recently where violence, killing becomes the response to frustration, especially political frustration. And the more that we see it, the more it becomes normal, the more we witness people not upset by it, the more okay it is, you know? It was pretty, when, what was her name? Melissa Hortman and her husband, wait, no. And like, when someone is killed, assassinated, when someone is shot for their beliefs, and we don't, as a country, as a government, we don't like make a big deal that is horrifically wrong. That's a problem. And really, like, if I look at, and I think this is related to the pardoning of the January 6th people. Like, what we're saying, that if you want to, like, it's understandable to get so angry at the government that your response is violence. And hey, we get it. It's like, no. That's how it collapses. That's how the quality of life for all Americans lowers, as we accept an environment where, yeah, sometimes people, and even if somebody is somebody who says, hey, sometimes people get shot in the name of freedom, as Kirk did, that doesn't mean that we use that as a reason to celebrate or be cool with him being killed. So I am feeling distressed and disturbed, and I know that no violence stops a problem. You know, if you don't think, like, in fact, it makes me think that the when I think that it's just important to think of, like, I've heard people saying that, well, they didn't mourn when so-and-so was shot, and they didn't want the flags raised at half-mast for the school shooting. And it's like, look, let's not do that. Let's not put it into us, them. This is a type of love thy enemy and turn the other cheek. Like, okay, I understand that as on the left, you are justified in having a certain response that feels equal to what you saw from the president. But the only way to heal in harmony is to rise above and say, no, not okay. It's just not okay. All right, I think I've lost my thread, but I will return back to reading comments and encourage everyone to embrace the yes and of gratitude. Yes, there is plenty to be concerned about in the world, and there is beauty and wonderfulness. I am grateful that I'm leaving tonight to go to Big Sur in one of my favorite places and get to be with beautiful people and celebrate a wedding ceremony this weekend. Grateful that I get to travel with my beloved. So grateful for her kindness and wisdom. Good morning, Philos. Good morning, Kiri. Kiri says, I'm grateful I have my life today, and all my favorite people are alive as far as I know. Thank you. High Five says, grateful for therapy to remember how myself that I am not a monster, but a being who is healing from the othering. I am love. I am worthy. I am able. Mingle says, I have gratitude to be here. I need to be here, and it's good to hear your voice. You're grounding for me. Thank you. I love you. I love you too. Kiri sharing a quote. If you want to end gun violence, you cannot celebrate any death caused by gun violence. Exactly. And I think that there's like, I've been seeing all sorts of people writing, and it's interesting how often as I read it, I'm like, yeah, and then I'll afterwards be like, do I agree with all that or not? But I think it's okay to say, this is fucking wrong. And just as we always should do in the wake of a school shooting, is go, that was fucking wrong, and we need gun control. Like, I've heard a number of people say, look, a bulletproof vest wouldn't have helped him. More security wouldn't have helped him. Nothing would have helped except for legislation in our country to about gun control. That's the only thing that and I think that it is not cold or callous. I think like saying anything like, well, he said this, therefore he got this, that's not helpful. But saying this sucks, and related to it, let's talk about gun control. I love you too, David. Heinen says, I have gratitude that Gabor Mate has impacted my life and seen the insights he has given me. Kiri says, some people say that he doesn't deserve empathy because he believed that empathy was a made-up term that caused damage. I don't believe that is a good reason to let go of our own capacity to feel empathy. Exactly. I mean, I'll even say, since it's 9/11, it reminds me of when the news was spreading that bin Laden was killed and people celebrated. I do not believe in the celebration of bin Laden's death. In my mind, that was an example of like if there was a dog that was biting kids and you had to put it down, it's sad. You got to put it, I mean, it wouldn't celebrate that you get to kill this mean dog. You'd be like, this poor dog. And what can we do to make sure that we don't make more dogs that are biting people like that? And whether the dog was speaking in a way that is problematic or acting in a way that was violent, it's like, you got to do what you got to do to try to make yourself safe, but I don't think you should be gleeful about putting down a dog. Kiri says, this reminds me of the celebrations that took place when the atomic bomb successfully deployed. We have to keep showing up and doing our work. Our world needs it so badly. Yeah. Heinen says, I remember that and saw that as not justice, and isn't this country about due process? Yeah, that's... Yeah. Well, let's start to see if we can sink into a little bit of gratitude for the last few moments. I love you too, Carrie. I am grateful that the house is getting clean today. I am grateful that although I'm quite stressed about what I'm going to be wearing at the wedding this weekend, that it's an awesome problem to have. I love my problems. I am grateful for my home, grateful for the wonderful meals that Lisa often prepares for us. We had this awesome curry dish last night that she made. So grateful that grateful to hear from a good friend and client who shared all the cool things that are happening to them since the burn, and get to celebrate all these wins and growth. Grateful for safety. Grateful for how easy it is for me to enjoy life, this body, the relationships in my life. Gearbot says, grateful for leftovers from a work luncheon yesterday. Nice. I'm grateful for air travel and for snacks and easy access to so many things. Grateful for DoorDash. Got some sushi delivered a couple nights ago. And I was like, wow, man, what a sci-fi world that I live in, that I can have delicious raw fish delights delivered to my door, barely breaking stride with my day. How much effort that would have taken, 50 years ago. I have to go fishing, first of all. But, so lots to be grateful for and lots to ponder. I'm grateful for 24 years of Hug Nation, and for everyone that has shared a hug with me along the way. Everyone that has connected with Grandpa Caleb and settled into that vibration of the world would rather hug you than hurt you. Raw fish delights. Mingle says, I'm grateful for conversations that reveal deep truths. Heinen says, I'm going to try my best to love more today and fear less. Grateful for the safe space, and thanks y'all. Love y'all so much. Well, with that, wherever you are, let's give ourselves a big old squeeze. Feeling gratitude for our bodies, for one another, for all the opportunities to love and be loved and connect and dance and cry and try and fail and celebrate and heal. Grateful for the individual human beings making choices towards love and compassion. Grateful for each one of us that gets chances all day long to make choices towards love and compassion. Grateful for all the reflections we get from others and all the opportunities we have to be activists in those teeny tiny choices of love and compassion. So let's take a deep breath in and squeeze one another. Feeling connected in the oneness. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all of us who've ever been in this Hug Nation space, thanks for being here. Love you. Thank you. Good job hitting the gym. Mingle's grateful for a conversation with a friend. Love you, Emil. Hugs, Michael. Yeah, I will be out of town until I think Monday. So I will generally have little connectivity in Big Sur. So I will see you in a few days. Have a beautiful weekend. Weekend, right? Yeah. Bye.